Sitting on a beach, or fishing at the lake, or just taking a break. The countdown clocks have started, fight songs pass the time. The days may run together, but you know that in our mind it's always Saturday. Take me back to Saturday. Saturday. Give me those 12 Saturdays. Spot the ball. March Madness is a blast, and we love baseball games. But nothing beats the feeling of having a killer slate of games. It's always Saturday. Take me back to Saturday. Saturday. Dreaming of all Saturdays. Spot the ball. Spot the ball. Oh, college football. Sat out your day. It's for the large and for the small. Lay a big hit and pass a kick the ball. This game is for us all. From Seattle down toward the Keys, this game is you, this game is me. Cats, dogs, and steer, be the tree. This game is America, so sing it loud with me. College football forever. College football forever. Downtown LA, Starkville City. 1 week you're up next, take a dip, run the rock or let it rip. This game is America. All say, can you sing it with me?
We just stepped on her feet with a hot-tail moving across her nose. Whoa, Nelly!
College football forever. College football forever. College football forever. College football forever.
College football is a year-round discussion with these two. Here's JC and Morgan. Mike Morgan of ESPN and JC Shurburtt of 24/7 Sports have you covered, beginning right now.
Ah, yes. Welcome, everybody. Oh, we're small today.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Crushing your head. I don't know.
Dave Aranda would love this clip.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, we're very little people. We're for those watching on YouTube, then you can see on the screen. We're normally much bigger than this, but that's okay. Oh, there we go. We just roided up. We just juiced, and before you know it, we just increased our squat, our bench. Major gains, bros. Major gains. Welcome. It is another installment of JC and Morgan, number 281, I believe, if you're scoring at home. And if you are watching on YouTube, then you see, just a little words of inspiration I try to find. And I put there less than 30 days. Simple math equation. Simple. Greater than, less than, equal to. Less than 30 days to kick off. Less than 30 days to week 1. I'm not even including week 0. And
smart.
Yeah, I'm not even including. I know your thoughts on week 0. It certainly is not a banner slate of games in week 0.
Just give us 2 more or 1 more. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
The doubling game and squeeze in. And I mean, Michigan's playing a game in Germany. Why not just play a better game in Germany if you want?
Yeah, instead of
Have that
Western
be
Michigan.
the international weekend. I don't know.
Well, there's talk about the whole calendar could be moved.
Yeah.
I never know how to say this, up or back. The easiest way for me is earlier.
Yeah.
Right.
What's funny is, I've lived in the South and in the North, and in the South, we start high school football it's almost like a college versus NFL type of deal where college starts and has their week in 10 days or whatever. And then NFL starts. Down South, high school has a week 0. And I know in South Carolina and other states, it's pretty popular. But then up North, where they don't care about college football in some places, they just start high school football the same weekend as college, last weekend in August. So,
right.
I could see that happening. Moving it. I mean, there's really if you move it forward too much and get conference title games too much into December, it's going to bump up to the playoff and Army, Navy and all that. So I could see a week 0 definitely taking place. Although week 1 being a holiday weekend, I think that's good for the sport. So, I mean, I think it allows teams to play from Thursday till Monday in the spotlight. So maybe they don't, maybe they do. Who knows? I would just like, if we're going to have a week 0 at all, play just a couple more good ones, man. Give us a triple header,
Yeah. When Stanford at Hawaii is perhaps your second best game, that's a problem. Well, we could step it up a little.
A few years ago, Vanderbilt in Hawaii was the best game.
Yeah.
And Vanderbilt scored 55 points. I think we all thought Vandy was going to be an offensive juggernaut, and I think they scored about an average of 8 in SEC play.
Yeah, Hawaii is just awful. June Jones is not walking through that door. He had Hawaii humming.
And they've had stadium, big time stadium issues. Aloha Stadium, which is where they used to have the Pro Bowl, and remember the Aloha Bowl on Christmas Day?
Yeah, sure.
Name the last SEC team to play in the Aloha Bowl.
Oh, gosh. I have no idea.
Geographically close to where you live.
Georgia
played Virginia. Jim Donovan's last year, he got fired after the Aloha Bowl. That was 2000. Yeah, Georgia played in the Aloha Bowl. But that was always fun.
Absolute blur.
But that stadium, that stadium, Aloha Stadium, has been condemned. It looks like RFK. In Washington, D.C. now. And they haven't, Hawaii government politics or whatever. They haven't been able to. They're going to build one. But so Hawaii, kind of like Northwestern, they're playing in this like all-purpose intramural field with bleachers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not even like you get to go and play in the historic Aloha Stadium anymore. You just get to go to UH and play on their practice field.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to have Hawaii relevant for a lot of reasons, but yeah, they've come across very hard times. Chad Rowe is already on fire, and one of the guys is
fired up about the season, huh?
Fired up about the season, like they can sense it. Someone mentioned I'm even fired up about the Hall of Fame game tonight. Big slamma jamma. I'm not gonna lie, I'm juiced for it. Yeah, we will not have another week, because you got to include NFL preseason in there. We will not have another week without football until mid-February. Think about that.
It's a glorious thing. Although the Hall of Fame game disappointed me severely last year because the Bears were in it. Yeah. And my stepson, all he could talk about was Caleb Williams. Dude, I almost bought tickets and drove to Canton for the game because he didn't have football practice and we were available. I almost did that. And then that week, they were like, well, no, we're just going to play the third team. Both teams we're not even going to play Caleb Williams. I mean, like a rookie quarterback, and he needs all the reps he can get. And so most of those players that played in that game, Mike, didn't even make the team. I mean, it was like 3 guys made the roster that even played.
Yeah.
And so I was like, this is just donkey.
Well, preseason football, as someone who used to do the Carolina Panthers games on TV for 5 years, I watched what's the opposite of evolution? There's no devolution. De-evolution.
Yeah.
Whatever the opposite of evolution of preseason football. I saw it firsthand start to slip. So it used to be everybody had 4 games. Of course, we're down to 3, and I'm as confident as I am as the SEC is going to 9 conference games. I'm even more confident the NFL will have 18 regular season games, not this ridiculous odd number of 17. That's all just it's another money grab. Just give them more money, and then everybody will agree to play 18. But it used to be you had 4. The first game, which is the Hall of Fame game, you're getting nothing out of. Okay, the starters, lucky if they see the field for much of anything other than perhaps a series. Game 2 is when you start seeing like a quarter, maybe even a half. And game 3 is what we call dress rehearsal. That's the game where they actually put in a full-fledged effort for 2 to 3 quarters. You know, where Cam Newton would play more than a half of football, you know, and Steve Smith and Jonathan Stewart and D'Angelo Williams and go on and on and on and on. Greg Olson. And then game 4 was, here are the guys fighting for the final roster spots and who's going to be on the old taxi squad or injured, whatever they call it nowadays. We've even scrapped that. So for those, you know, I know a lot of us would love to see like a preseason game in college football. That's only going to be as entertaining as the coaches allow it to be. If they're still paranoid about an injury or not showing us too much and all that, well, then you're going to just see a bunch of backups. Now, your hardcore college fans would still rather have that than get practice reports. So-and-so caught a great pass and 7-on-7.
Dude, schools, you were at South Carolina doing play-by-play. Remember Lou Holtz had a JV game?
Oh, yeah.
That was, and it was crazy because you couldn't even like play the guys that were redshirted. You just had to play like basically the walk-ons.
Right.
There's all kinds of attention on that. I mean, think about if Alabama had a scrimmage where none of the starters played, but it was their entire freshman class. You'd have 60,000 people in the stands. I mean, because, you know, the college roster evolution is so different than the pros. Pro fans don't normally, I mean, there's not as many spots. You've kind of memorized the 2 deep. There's not a lot of drama in it. You know, they're always making moves and stuff. I guess if you were like a hardcore pro fan, you want to watch the backups. But the thing about the preseason is most of those backups aren't even going to be on your roster. Mm-hmm. In college, they're all going to be on the roster. And you can kind of think about, wow, you know, in a couple of years, this guy's going to be pretty good. It's like watching JV high school football in a way. But yeah, I've been harping on that lately. I've been on the warpath about some things. And, you know, I continue to believe that as much as everybody wants to professionalize college sports, as long as college students are playing the game, college-aged people in football and the other sports, it's not going to be pro sports. These are still amateurs because they're not good enough to be pros. I mean, they're not good enough, so they don't have, you know, the ability to go do it. That's but if we're going to professionalize it in the manner we have, I think it with the transfer portal, free agency, basically, Mike, every year, and the money and things like that, I think we have to be a little bit more fair to coaches. This continues to be the only sport in the world, to my knowledge, that has no preseason. No, you don't get a scrimmage. You don't get a combined practice. You're just basically, for not to go Hugh Freeze here, but playing with yourself.
With your length and your girth,
with your length and your, until you play a real game, and then you know the TV execs and the conferences, they want big time opening weekends like this. I don't know how you do it. I don't know if you have a scrimmage or a full blown preseason game. I don't think that's probably going to happen because somebody's ultimately going to lose that preseason game and get fired. Like at Auburn, I could see somebody getting fired after losing a spring game, or
you really want to get fired,
injuries and stuff. But I think you can also, in football, you can also simulate things and get a look like with a combined practice, like they do that in the NFL too. Or even if you don't want to risk the injury and go out of pads and just shells for linemen and 7-on-7 for, skill guys, you're still getting a look mano a mano against an opponent. And I just think they need to help coaches in that way. Some coaches don't want to do it, because of the reasons you mentioned and the reasons I mentioned. But I think as a sport, as it continues to evolve with all the roster transition, you probably are going to need something like that. Or you're going to start having some more real shocking results in week one moving forward, because it's a lot different than it was with rosters in transition every year.
No doubt about it. That is the voice of JC Shurburtt. I am Mike Morgan. Our producer that you do not see is the Mad Dog, Phil Mullinax. You might not see us at all if you're listening to us on every platform imaginable, from iTunes to Google Play to Spotify. Had somebody earlier this week has flown by, say they listen on iHeart. We forget to mention that. We're on iHeart. Proudly, right, JC?
Randomly. Yeah, almost. And that happened about 6-7 years ago. I mean, it was I guess they just took a bunch of RSS feeds from podcasts and stuck them up there. We don't get paid from iHeart or anything.
We do not.
But, it's been on iHeart for a while. It's on Audible. It's on CBS 24/7. It's on Apple, iTunes, Podbean. This one goes all over the place.
Everywhere, man.
It's worldwide, Mike.
Worldwide. Love it.
JC Morgan podcast.
We're in our
10th football season.
10th football season. Yeah.
16 was the first one.
That's right. So 10th year. You guys keep making this fun to do, and it keeps growing year by year. We appreciate all of you that are tuning in each and every week. We had Phil Steele on the last time. That always is a big draw for a number of you, just appreciating Phil's views. We'll have Andy Staples on of On 3 next Wednesday. We're working on a couple other guests. And then when the season gets started, our biggest challenge is squeezing in every bit of recapping the week before. We're also going to try to have a little more continuity on the exact day and time during the season. We're working on that. We got a lot of schedules and a lot of people in different places and all that, but we'll try to do that for you, where you can set your watch to it, set your calendar to it. You certainly set your watch and calendar to the JC5 coming up later on after the break. The Morale of a Great Nation relies heavily on the JC5. I don't know what you have in the JC5. Again, it's hermetically sealed in an envelope, guarded by massive security detail. And I like it that way. I like to be pleasantly surprised, and I always am. But just a couple things that in the open here, JC, that I had on my mind. Here's one that snuck up on me, and I know you'll know the answer, but it's one of those where you do have to think for a second. This will be what year for Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss?
No, he's 20. 20 was his first year. So
correct.
Year 6.
Year 6. Year 6. Now, why do I bring that up? Because a couple of things. Number one, when I heard that, I was like, wait, Lane's been in Oxford for 6 years? Number two is how many times was he rumored to leave and go somewhere else? And number three is I'm fascinated. I think you and I are in agreement. I think Lane is good for college football and good for the SEC. He's entertaining. Yeah. He's one of the few people at media days where I'm like, what's he got to say? Because you never know. By now, everybody's seen kind of the interaction, the weird give and take with him and Feinbaum. They're both in on the joke. It's not like they hate each other or anything else. They know it's entertainment. And Lane just has that, look, I'm playing with house money. I can give 2 Fs with what anybody thinks. I'm enjoying life. I win 8 games in Oxford. They pat me on the back. I win 10, and I'm a king. And that's where he is, because 3 of the last 4 years, they've won double-digit games. 2021, 10-3, went to the Sugar Bowl. 2023, 11-2, won the Peach Bowl. And last year went 10-3, won the Gator Bowl. Now, they were a little bit upset because all they had to do was either win at Florida. That's the one that everybody focuses on. At that time, Florida was playing better football. The game was in the swamp. But really, the Kentucky game is the one, if you look back on, for Ole Miss, an inexcusable home loss to Kentucky, you could argue is the thing that kept them out of the playoff. But he's been there 6 years. He was only with the Raiders for 2 years, went 5-15. Tennessee for 1 year. Boy, did he talk a lot of smack in Knoxville. And then he went 7-6 and then bailed. And then went to Southern Cal, was 28-15, got fired on the tarmac, And then like it was rehabilitation time for kind of the image and I think the overall aura of Lane. At that time, I was not a big fan of Lane. I thought he was very immature. It's not somebody I would have wanted to hire if I was an AD of a high-profile program. Now, FAU, you hire him regardless, and he was 3 years at FAU. And then Ole Miss got him. And I think a lot of people were like, either it won't work or it won't last. Well, it has worked and it has lasted. So I thought that was interesting. And the other thing I was going to roll at you, JC, because I hear this every year. And it's just it's a very popular hot take from people in our profession. Man, preseason polls are the worst, man. I hate them. They should eliminate them. They should take them out in the middle of the desert and shoot them and then bury them like Pesci in Casino. Hit them over the head with shovels and baseball bats and then dig a hole in the desert. They're not going anywhere, people. Now, I'll admit, once the season starts, I completely ignore the AP and coaches poll. Do we ever even talk about those during the season? Very lightly, if we do at all, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't. I mean, we're in a playoff era now. What matters is what a ridiculous committee of 13 people that needs to be selected much better. That matters. But the AP poll will be around. They've been around since 1936. The coaches poll will be around. ESPN has Texas in their preseason poll. Phil Steele, who we had on last time, he has Penn State, and other people have picked LSU. I mean, the polls are polls. The last time I remember where like truly mattered. 2004 Auburn has a case. Okay, they were preseason 17. They go undefeated in the SEC, and they don't make it to the BCS title game. BCS always worked. One played two. Yeah. Tell 2004 Auburn that. And the reason why they didn't make it is because that year, Southern Cal and Oklahoma were in the top 5 preseason. So Auburn never had a chance to leapfrog them, and those two teams played, and Auburn did not.
And the BCS formula, for those that want to go back to that, in lieu of the committee, as much as I thought the committee did a terrible, terrible job picking a 12-team playoff last year, and I don't want to go back to that either. I mean, and it's a lot of, with the AP specifically, it has to do with the erosion of the voters. There's still some people that know ball that vote, but like you had a guy that works for the Cleveland Plain Dealer last year that would get on social media and literally, like, I guess he's an Ohio State fan, but acted like one of these crazies on Twitter, like talking bad about the SEC. His final poll, Mike, I mean, when you're ranking Memphis ahead of not necessarily Ole Miss, but like Alabama at the end, you have no business. You're not only, it's intellectually dishonest, and you have more of that, with the AP poll. But the BCS formula weighted the coaches and AP poll equal is a big part of that, and that's what happened to Auburn that season. And Oklahoma gets just waxed by Southern Cal. So that was one where the humans screwed that up, because, the old way of thinking is, well, unga bunga, one loss better than two. And as long as you're undefeated, you're going to keep moving up and ahead of teams with one loss. And that doesn't really make any sense in modern college football with a 12-team playoff. But, the reason they do it and what's good is for television, because how are you going to decide what teams to put on the ticker for score updates?
Right.
I mean, it's like, how are we going to do that? And I think that, the preseason polls do have some bias to them. No, not bias, but lingering bias. Like when you get to October and you got a team that really has started off great the media liked them or whatever, and they're 13th in the country. Now they're 5th. And they played nobody. Is that really the 5th ranked team in the country? Normally that takes care of itself. I mean, Mississippi State a couple of years ago, really great, had a lot of big wins against a down LSU team, things like that with Dak Prescott. Then they ran into Bama and reality set in. I mean, usually it takes care of itself, but Mississippi State was even number 1 in the playoff poll. I think in general, as far as the playoffs concerned, you got to get away from not only paying attention to the coaches and AP polls, you got to get away from that style of ranking teams. That's just not that's not going to work.
It's a tough habit to break.
Yeah, it is.
That's the way
as
they've
we
been doing
found
it
out.
for 90
100,
years.
90 years. But I like it. What I like to see some sort of, and not the ESPN, Bill Connolly, or the other thing they use. Not that under any circumstances, but what I like to see a net rankings style thing. I've been on that kick too.
You're talking my language now.
Dude, brother. I just, I just think, when and what they say about the net in basketball is it's a sorting tool. Dude, give us a sorting tool, man.
Yeah.
Give us a sort. And if ESPN would take the recruiting rankings part out of it, because they use that because those are supposed to be predictions machines. So I guess in their mind that matters. Just to someone that worked in that business, it doesn't. But if you got some kind of data or something like that where you could sort it, and then we have quad games. I mean, that's going to be fun, in my opinion, especially you get to October and, because in basketball now, I think that's helped some of the regular season games that wouldn't normally be important, because you're like, well, if, Tennessee beats, Arkansas this weekend, that's going to become a quad 1 win for Georgia. And that's going to help our resume, and it updates every day. And that's cool. I think that's cool. I think the net, as far as does it make sense for me? Not always, but as far as just from a fan interest point of view, and the quads, I think the net's been outstanding for college basketball, and I'd love to see it for football.
It's a great way this is college football's, it's always been its biggest problem, is to differentiate one conference versus another. And so those non-con games, and we've got some good ones. There's some teams that went complete cupcake, but I think the trend now with an expanded playoff where a loss just doesn't blow your whole season up, heck, even 2 losses doesn't blow your whole season up. And at some point, I think even 3 losses won't blow your whole season up. You can challenge yourself. And how did the SEC get 14 teams in the NCAA basketball tournament? Because they dominated non-con competition in November, December, and those metrics, they don't go away. They just stay on your permanent resume from January, February, March, and the SEC had the best ever non-con run, and that's how all their net rankings were so good. Well, let's start with this weekend. If Auburn beats Baylor, if South Carolina beats Virginia Tech, and if Tennessee beats Syracuse. Now, none of those are top 10 teams, but they're all credible opponents from other power conferences. That really helps. And then furthermore, if LSU, right? I mean, if LSU can beat Clemson, Alabama at Florida State, and a road game, and in the net ranking, the road, they break it down into road games, neutral site games, and home games. Road games obviously garner the most credit, then neutral, then home. And so when you look at it that way, it's just a great way to sort who's truly had the best resume and who has not. So it's definitely something I hope they get to. Again, it's not rocket science. When they put that formula together, I looked over it and it just made sense, just made practical sense. Just seems like that would be a smart thing to do. Smart thing to do would be to prepare mentally, physically, psychologically for the JC5. We are powered by Advocare. As always, recommend Spark for those of you that want something to get your day going. No sugar, zeros, so you don't have that crash, but vitamins, energy, all that good stuff. And then speaking of sugar, if you want to stay away from things like Gatorade, which is just sugar after sugar after sugar after sugar, Rehydrate, great product that you can now get in the stores, but all these things you can order online. Promo code, yours truly, Mike Morgan, save yourself 20%. 20%. Go to advocare.com. No meatheads at a brick and mortar store. Just ship to your door. Yeah, man. You're going to need some more amino acids. Yeah,
bro.
No, bro. You probably got some low T going on, bro. You need
Gains, bro.
Yeah, you don't need to deal with that. Yeah, who wants that? Who wants that in their life? Just go to advocare.com. It's delivered to your door. No need to deal with any pushy salespeople. Also presented by Nest and Wild. NestandWild.com, the most comfortable mattress on this planet and probably any other. We've polled aliens and They concur. We concur that the JC5 is coming up next. It is JC and Morgan, less than 30 days away from kickoff. More coming up on the other side.
Welcome to Palm Casual Patio Furniture. Because we are the factory, Palm Casual has the ability to offer the highest quality outdoor furniture paired with world-class service. Since 1979, our factory showrooms have done our best to make the buying process as easy as possible for our customers. Our understanding of the many factors that go into your decision has helped us create our 30-day trial period that increases the level of comfort our customers feel during the shopping experience. Visit us in Somerville, Mount Pleasant, Myrtle Beach, and Bluffton, and online at palmcasual.com for our products and out-of-state locations. Go Gamecocks!
Hey, folks, want to tell you about our friends at Titan Construction Group really quick. They're a Mid-Atlantic-based general contractor, specializes in retail, restaurant, and office construction. TCG strives to separate itself from other general contractors by adding value every step of the process. From project budgeting to estimation, value engineering to construction, they focus on those relationships and not the transaction. Titan builds partnerships one project at a time. Among their clients are Starbucks, Crumble Cookie, Blake Pizza, Home Goods, 15 plus years experience, based in Midlothian, Virginia, and contracted in Virginia, West Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina. So get on their website, TitanCGinc.com. That's TitanCGinc.com. Get in touch with Brad if you're in need of a general contractor that focuses on going above and beyond for their clients. That's Titan Construction Group, a proud sponsor of the JC and Morgan podcast.
We're passionate about making sure that the Nest and Wild mattress is the best it can be. Made well and made right here in Tupelo, Mississippi. So how can we do all that? Work. Hard work. And that means something. The Nest and Wild mattress is a movement. It's a pride in where you come from and where you're going. So get comfortable, because this movement is just beginning.
This is JC Morgan
On the Chief Sports Network.
College football. Forever.
Always love that dramatic guitar note on the way out.
It's like something from the Allman Brothers or something.
And how many different voices did you get to voice? It's like three different voices.
That my friend was not. I mean, that would have cost me $700 a piece.
AI.
That's a program I had. I didn't really like it though, and I think I can get another one cheaper. So I've canceled that membership. But yeah, gosh, I put that together. I like those little things.
I do too. I do too.
I mean, nothing beats the voice at the end of the College Football Forever intro, because we know that guy. That's a real human.
That's Gary B.
That's a badass. That's a badass, is what that is.
That guy came out of the womb with a voice that said, "Sports Talk Radio."
Hello, what's going on, brother?
Hey,
you know,
man.
so he is. It's not going to beat that, but yeah, that was not. I did that pretty quickly.
And then for those that don't follow yet, College Football Forever on Instagram, on X, it's really good stuff. It's kind of the an inside look at the brain of JC Shurburtt, which scientists have tried to figure out exactly what goes on in there. But it is a hodgepodge of obviously football stuff, pop culture stuff, random stuff. You never know. So you can follow that as well and get you prepped for the season. Also, what is it? CFF. No, CF. Yeah.
At CFB at CFB Forever on Instagram. Now, X was a little more challenging. It was to get that. A lot of other people. It's at number 4 ever CFB. at
Okay.
number forever CFB. So I wish it was the same.
Yeah.
But X has a billion users, and some people gobble those things. Corporations gobble up it's like URLs. They'll just go and buy whatever.com. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. We have a kind of a companion show under that brand too, SEC Sunday Nights on the Chief Sports Network, SEC Sunday Night, that comes on at Sunday night at 8, and that'll continue throughout the season to kind of focus on the Southeastern Conference. And you can find on Instagram too the clips from our show, highlights. Yeah, and Mike Morgan talk. Well, one was me, and we were talking about old football magazines, and another one was Mike with a great take on the Texas A&M fight song being played when Sark was on there, and then Mike's football takes, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, you can kind of catch. I know I've watched. I feel like there's some shows I've never watched, but I feel like I've watched them because I catch the quick clips on YouTube, and you can catch that on Instagram and feel like you've been here even when you haven't. So
I like it.
That's amazing.
So make sure, tell your family, tell your friends, follow that. In honor of Ethan, who says Mike always has the smoothest transition into ads and sponsors. I try, Ethan. I'm not good at many things in life. I try to be at least good at this. And with that in mind, I'm going to segue smoothly into the JC5. Smoothly and promptly.
Our producer's doing double duty today.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It's
all right. So it's time for the JC5. All right. Number one, Mike, since we're, as it's pointed out on Chat Row, on JC and Morgan, it's Chat Row. On the other shows, it's the chat box.
Correct.
Folks. So I'm just going to tell you, so don't feel bad if I call you a chat rower on this show. It's a different show. Somebody pointed out we're 23 days away from week 0, the glorious week 0. But there is a pretty intriguing game that is going to be hard to predict between two teams, Iowa State and Kansas State, that are one of the – how many contenders in the Big 12 that did Phil have? 13? I mean, the most wide-open conference in the league. And it's an intriguing matchup. So my question for you – by the way, Kansas State's a 3-point favorite right now, which probably makes sense. I think it could go either way. But my question for you is about Chris Kleiman and Matt Campbell, okay? And I'll just read this off to you. I didn't think – remember Ron Prince?
How could I forget?
Nobody can forget.
Well, Kansas State would love to forget.
Hey, people forget James Franklin was his assistant offensive coordinator there.
Was he really? I didn't know that.
I believe so, yeah. But Ron Prince was a disaster, and then Bill Snyder came back, and K-State was good again. So I think that because there was a coach there in between that failed miserably, except he did beat Texas, which was hilarious, that nobody could ever, Kansas State was going to go back to being, they were the worst program in the country for a long, long time. And Kleiman comes in with a 69-6 record at North Dakota State, a powerhouse. Lots of people win there. And all he's done after taking over during the pandemic, and he's also going in, he started in 2020. No, actually, he started in 19. Had a bad year in the pandemic, but they've won 8. Pandemic year 4-6. 8, 10, 9, and 9. Got to the Sugar Bowl in 2022. He's 120-41 overall. Matt Campbell, we've talked about ad nauseum here. He's 99-66 overall, 64-51 at Iowa State bowl game, 7 of the last 9 years, 2 Big 12 Conference Championship game appearances, and this is his 10th season. 35-15 with Toledo, the North Dakota State of the MAC, most of the time, some of the time. And obviously, is as good of a coach as there is. So these two guys, it's obviously going to be a great battle between two coaches. Do we not give these guys enough credit? I mean, I know Matt Campbell was a hot name for a while, but have we just kind of forgotten about him? And then Kleiman, I never hear anybody talk about it. I mean, some people probably think Bill Snyder still coaches at Kansas State.
Yeah, guarantee you they do.
So it's like, are these guys, in your opinion, underrated? These two coaches that are coaching in Dublin.
Yes, but two different cases there. Kleiman is underrated from the standpoint of a lot of people still don't know who he is or his background, and they've kind of forgotten about Kansas State. I mean, Kansas State peak K-State with guys like Colin Klein and Bishop, and they were Tyler Lockett. I called a couple of his games. What a fun, exciting player. He's still getting it done in the NFL.
Remember L. Roberson they had
Yeah,
for a year?
absolutely.
And they played Oklahoma and I think in Kansas, freezing Kansas City.
Yeah.
And Oklahoma, they knocked Oklahoma. I mean, they beat Oklahoma 33-7 in that game. I remember watching it. That was a good team too.
No, I mean, and again, they had it. They had a formula. You have to be somewhat unique. They were JUCO central. I mean, they got a ton of JUCOs, and Snyder was such a good coach that the rep on a lot of JUCOs back then, and the impact of JUCOs is far less now. But the rep on JUCOs back then was, well, they're JUCO for a reason. Good luck coaching these guys. He got the most out of every one of them. And they were they were competing for national championships in Manhattan, Kansas. Shout out to the Little Apple, cool little town. But I think K-State's been off the radar ever since. And so while Klieman has done good things, I think a lot of people they don't know that story. Campbell is a different deal. And Campbell is now back in the spotlight coming off an 11-3 year, right? But 3 years ago, I mean, I was convinced. I know I said it a number of times on this show. I'm like, he's going to take an NFL job. And he had opportunities. I mean, he's had a lot of opportunities to leave Ames. Now, they G'd him up. They paid him more money than most people think a coach in Ames, Iowa can get, but they did. They opened up the checkbook, and I think he's genuinely happy there, and he stayed. So, but then in 2021, they go 7-6. Then they get a 4-8, and then another 7-6. And what are people saying then? You should have left when your stock was the highest. His agent's probably sitting there. Good gracious, Matt, we had leverage. Now we got nothing. Well, now they're back. Now they're back, coming off 11-3, and who knows who's going to win the Big 12. It's the most unpredictable league. But I stand by. I think Matt Campbell is an outstanding coach. I think that's a really, really difficult job. Because on one hand, I'll be the first one to tell you Ames and being there for game days, really cool. The tailgating, the fan base, it's awesome. But on the other hand, I also tell you from a resource standpoint, recruiting standpoint, like that's a difficult job. So I never know if he can keep it up. And obviously he had a 3-year drought. So we'll see what they do this year. But yeah, the premise of your question, I think they're both a little underrated, quite frankly.
Absolutely. A couple of tidbits there before you get to number 2. Matt Campbell did get G'd up. Iowa State is $147 million in the red, athletic department wise. That was a story that broke out today. And you mentioned Colin Klein. He is the offensive coordinator at Texas A&M now.
Yeah,
pretty good coordinator there. So he's
absolutely. And again, they don't. What's the difference between Iowa State and Texas Tech? They don't have a sugar daddy. They don't have an oil tycoon. That's again, they've got great fan base. If you've been to Lubbock for a game and you've been to Ames for a game, I'm not sure if there's that big a difference. A lot hotter in Lubbock, a lot windier in Ames, but they don't have what everybody wants. What's the difference between Ames, Iowa, and Stillwater, Oklahoma? T. Boone Pickens. That's your difference.
It's kind of the same concept too. Ames is north of Iowa. What's the capital of Iowa? God, I'm drawing a blank. Des Moines. North, you go to Des Moines and go north to get there. Whereas Iowa City, where the Hawkeyes are, halfway between Chicago and Des Moines. Lots of Chicago kids go to school there. And Iowa's just like Iowa State. They don't have enough talent in the state to sustain it. And they go and raid other Big Ten states. Iowa State's not even got access to that. They're not in the Big Ten. So they go kind of down to the south and get 3rd and 4th tier guys. They get some JUCOs, they get transfers, which makes it all the more impressive as to what he's done. Looking forward to that game, though. Well-coached football game next season. So
number 2.
Okay,
hey,
man.
Mad Dog is back.
We
love it when Mad Dog is with us.
Every day that passes, I wonder about Hugh Freeze. And on Thursdays, I'm on a show in Alabama, and we talk a good bit of Auburn. And And I thought it was just such a fantastic hire. He was a proven winner. That's even been overshadowed, Mike, as you mentioned Lane Kiffin, who's had 3 double-digit win seasons at Ole Miss. Hugh Freeze did well at Ole Miss now, but he only had 1 double-digit. Yeah, 39-25, double-digit win season. Auburn's had 4 losing seasons in a row. I mean, it's been, you got brutal losses, and he doesn't look like him. He doesn't look like his, I don't know, maybe I'm just not right about this. It doesn't look like he's enjoying himself either. I mean, he doesn't look as happy as he did at Liberty or Ole Miss to me. So, and then number 2, I would probably, like I said earlier today, go back in time and take my length and girth and smack whoever scheduled this Baylor game in the face. Because I think it's just insane that Auburn's playing. I mean, they need a
dangerous
win.
Game, man.
Dude, they need a win. Baylor had a resurgent year last year. Remember, everybody's putting Aranda on the hot seat, and he comes back and wins 8 games. And, Baylor, what impressed me last year, Kansas got on that roll and was just knocking off everybody. Colorado, Iowa State, BYU. I mean, Kansas got going. And then Baylor, with bowl eligibility for KU on the line, another team with a good coach, smacked them down. I mean, Baylor was a line favorite against LSU in the Texas Bowl. This is a dangerous game. And you may as well send Texas or Texas A&M in there to play the Bears. It's an SEC team. They're going to go hanging. All right. So my question for you is this. Hugh Freeze and Jackson Arnold, I don't know of a head coach quarterback duo that has both the opportunity for major redemption in week 1 on a Friday for whatever reason, but also has a chance to really, we also have a chance to see the beginnings of both sort of unravel, because Jackson Arnold, say what you want about him at Oklahoma. There were reasons he struggled there. He's looking for redemption. Hugh Freeze is looking for redemption. But you could also see this as the beginning of the opening novel of the beginning of the end, like, one Friday on the Brazos River. I think it's the Brazos River. That's how it starts. That's where the stadium is in Baylor. Your thoughts about this game and how it sets up for those 2 individuals?
Let me start here, because I know a lot of people know Baylor had a good year last year, and they remember Dave Aranda not long ago was on top of the Big 12, and he was hotter than Texas Chili in terms of a coach that a lot of people started looking at in a really good light before they had obviously a step backwards, much like Matt Campbell did at Iowa State. These are programs that are not built for sustained excellence. They're going to have peaks and valleys, like most. But if you remember Phil Steele last week, we didn't talk a ton of Big 12, but looking at his magazine, who he has as the top quarterback in the Big 12 this season, Sawyer Robertson of the Baylor Bears, or Mississippi State Bulldog. Very quietly, Sawyer Robertson had a good year last year and is expected to have an even better season this year. They also have their tailback returning. All of this leads up to your point. This is a coach killing game, potentially. It'll be a packed house at McLean Stadium over there in Waco, and Baylor will go into that game expecting to win it. They're not like, oh, we're just honored to play an SEC team. They will be going into that game. It'll be on, I think that's a Fox game, nationally televised on a Friday night. So you got everybody's attention. That's the only thing going on. Again, I love it. So I say, as a fan, kudos to the Auburn administration for scheduling this game. We need more of this and less slop. But yes, it is a very dangerous game. Now, I'm bullish on Auburn overall this year. I'm bullish over. They have perhaps the best 1-2 punch at the wide receiver spot. I think Jackson Arnold had no chance to succeed at Oklahoma last year. I still think he's got a chance to be a good quarterback. And Cole Kubelik will tell you that's the best offensive line in the SEC, resides on the Plains. And they always are. The problem hasn't been the defense. They're salty there. problem has been they've been woeful on offense for quite some time, and they haven't had a quarterback, and they haven't had just the dynamic weapons that you need. They got it all this year. So, A, thankful for the matchup. B, still think Auburn is going to have a breakthrough season for Hugh Freeze. And C, if you lose that game, everything I just said means nothing because it's going to be absolutely toxic for Auburn, who are still wondering, did we really gain a whole lot by firing Gus Malzahn, who is now the offensive coordinator at Florida State?
Number three.
All right, so I think we're going to have a drum roll Anthony Richardson effect in college football. And it's going to go one of two ways after the game in Columbus, and sort of depending on what happens in Clemson and Tallahassee. But the game in Columbus between Texas and Ohio State, I believe, is setting it up for at least a 1 week of incessant hype. And I call it the Anthony Richardson effect because you remember when he beat Utah in Napier's first year, he was the Heisman Trophy winner. Game day went there. Nobody could quit talking about him. Kentucky comes to town. He throws 5 interceptions or whatever he did, looked terrible. Right. And we didn't hear about him again until the draft. So it is what it is. So the Anthony Richardson effect, because I've never seen that happen a whole lot, like a 1 week wonder. It
was one play, JC.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the 2-point conversion where he breaks out of a tackle, does a spin move, buys time, and then throws it to a wide open receiver. It's not like he threaded the needle. And based on that, and he looks the part, man. He coming off the bus. He's 6'4", he's 240. He can do backflips like he did on his. I mean, he conned the Colts into using a top 10 pick on him. He was never that good in college. But if you want to put a sizzle reel together, I can make him look like he's the next best quarterback in the history of the sport.
Yeah. He was interesting. Doing a little better with the Colts from what I read, but they've got problems. Anyway, so this is a new definition I'm going to put in our glossary. The Anthony Richardson effect, which is a one or 2 week period of over the top hype that just goes away based on early season college football results. So I'm going to say the two scenarios, and you tell me which one is more likely. Number one, Texas goes into Ohio State, beats down the Buckeyes, gets revenge for the Cotton Bowl last year. Arch looks really good. He's got a great supporting cast, great play caller. Ohio State's replacing a lot on that defense. The Longhorns go in there and win, maybe not comfortably, but they win the game. And most importantly, Arch looks good. And Manning all of a sudden is rewarded the Heisman Trophy based on one game, much like Anthony Richardson. I think, because it's just one game, even if it's more than one play. Number two, if Ohio State wins that game, which is possible, because Ohio State still has a lot of great players. We're forgetting about Jeremiah Smith. We're forgetting about some of the players that are left on that defense. We're forgetting that it's in Columbus. And we're forgetting that they're going to be very confident. And it's a big game for them, too. Everybody's talking March Manning in Texas. Well, what about us? Now they're going to have a new quarterback. Will it be Julian Sayin? Probably. He was a stud recruit too. So Ohio State can win the game. If Ohio State wins, and let's say they do win it comfortably, let's say Texas has a Texas moment and doesn't play well, and Ohio State wins like 31-20, 31-14. Arch does not look that good. The Big Ten is superior narrative is going to overwhelm everybody for a while, till Oklahoma plays Michigan and Wisconsin plays Bama. I don't even think Wisconsin-Bama will matter. Till Oklahoma plays Michigan in a couple of weeks. It is going to be probably, I don't want to say worse, but heavier than the Arch thing, because they're talking now already. And if that happens because Texas is the perceived favorite in the SEC, so which one of those scenarios is more likely? Do we get the Arch and the Anthony Richardson effect for a week, or do we get the Big Ten conference-wide hype for a week?
Wow. Oh, I think you're right on both points. If Texas goes there and wins, and Arch plays not even a great game, a good game, remember, Anthony Richardson was a no-name. I mean, I don't know how many stars he had next to his name coming out of high school in Gainesville, JC, but he wasn't on the national map
he was ranked a lot like Lenora Sellers, which is now I hate that comparison. I don't think they're the same
Right.
at all. But he was Gainesville kid, like from Gainesville, and was a high 3, low. I think some folks rated it as a low 4. I'd have to check his composite. I think his composite was a 4-star. So was Sellers, but he was a local kind of a local legend that Florida people would talk about. He's going to be really good.
Yeah, but my point is, like, outside of that, outside of North Central Florida, nobody knew who the hell he was. He went going into that season. People were not talking about Anthony Richardson, and then that game happened, and it was one of those scenarios like it was easily the best game. So everybody was watching, right? Everybody was watching that game, and everybody saw that play, and they'd heard from the announcers. I mean, this guy's 3.5% body fat. He's 6'4". And so they just took that baton and that's Arch Manning we've known about for how many years? And everybody. Yeah. So it's different from that standpoint. But if he shows, again, not to be great, but if he just plays a good game and they win, yes, the hype will be unbelievable. And it'll be hard to avoid until they lose a game in Austin. And based on the schedule, I mean, I've got them winning a lot of games again this year. As I've said, I don't think Texas is a flash in the pan storyline. I think they're right up there with Georgia, and we'll see if Alabama gets back to the promised land, and they're not going anywhere as long as Sark is still their coach. They recruit like there's nobody's business, and for whatever reason, the culture there just seems a hell of a lot better. Now, here's the other one, the other end of your question. If Ohio State of the Big Ten Conference, which has won the last 2 national championships, if they win that game, and you mentioned all the players they lost, both sides of the ball. Yes, the hype for the Big Ten is real, and the anti-SEC sentiment, you saw this during media days, coaches with scripted shots, pot shots at the league. Oh, it's top heavy. Oh, they don't play anybody. You are going to feel that early and often. And it will be, I don't like using the term on steroids. That's so overdone. So I need to find something else that's can quantify this, but it'll be insufferable, just insufferable, as if losing on the road to a top-notch Ohio State team would somehow mean, well, the SEC is in decline. If, God forbid, that happens and LSU loses to Clemson and Baylor beats Auburn, oh, baby, you will never see so many happy people go out and bang their – I mean, it'll be – Danny Cannell will probably just implode out of glee and happiness. It'll just be remnants of him all over Fort Lauderdale. And just out of happiness. So, yeah, there's the potential for the SEC hatred to reach peak heights because they really feel now that, like, and you've heard the argument, JC, well, now that there's NIL and the people can spend as much money as the SEC does legitimately, now it's a new ball game. I don't really think that's it. But but that'll be out there.
Because people get the amounts wrong. They think that the I don't want to say the cheating, the under the table money. Go read the story about the bag man on SB Nation. That's accurate as far as, I mean, you're talking thousands, not millions that's out there. And I don't know that some of these schools everybody thinks are cheating were based on inside information. So we'll see. Well, we've already had the number 4 spin. And what's going to be really bad, Mike, and this leads us to our next question, number 4.
Number 4.
Phil had a quick trigger there on that in the middle.
Oh, was that
Phil fired off on us.
Well, you can never have too much of Gary B. If you want to play number 4 again, Phil.
Yeah,
number 4.
Yeah, thank you, Phil.
What the hell? Why not?
Number 4.
We paid a lot of money for that production. We might as well use it.
Number 4.
Okay. Thanks.
Get you some, Gary.
What's going to be really bad is if those are games in Atlanta, Tennessee's a 13.5-point favorite over Syracuse. South Carolina's an 8.5-point favorite over Virginia Tech. I agree those should be the favorites, but they're losable. What if those go the other way? And then the mother of all bad things that could happen. Florida State, Thomas Castellanos in his big mouth, and Gus Malzahn, the Tide Killer.
Oh, you don't even want.
Beat Alabama in the newly refurbished O'Campbell Stadium. And the SEC is an offer on the first weekend against the ACC and the Big Ten.
Stop it.
I'll go. We should all of us in the South should just go run and hide. I mean, that Danny Cannell, I mean, dude, he smiles a lot anyway. A lot of people take him seriously for what he says, but he's not like a bad person. We've had him on. We've
had him on a couple times. I've known Danny for years. He likes trolling. He knows
he has his stick, and that's fine. So I don't hate Danny Cannell, and he smiles a lot as a happy-go-lucky guy anyway. But the grin on his face.
Oh, Joel Klatt.
Oh, but Joel Klatt will run naked in the streets of Colorado, which is legal out there these days. But no, I mean it. Is it what I bet that it would happen? No. Is it likely? No. Could it happen? Yes.
Well, I think a clean sweep, the odds of that are astronomically low. But I mean, look, if Joey Aguilar wets the bed and Syracuse, coming off a big year, has their A game, I don't think it's crazy. I'm not seeing Virginia Tech pull off an upset over Carolina. I don't see many equations where that can happen. I do see these other games that we're talking about are all possible losses. Even Florida State. Florida State is going to be better. They just are.
2-10, but they didn't have 2-10 players.
No, and they didn't have a quarterback.
They got good players.
They
got a good scheme now for the quarterback they have.
Yeah, and look, Alabama's breaking in a new quarterback. Crazier things have happened in week one. So if just a few of those games go sideways, it'll be insufferable for the anti-SEC contingent, which is growing by they've always been there. I shouldn't say growing. They've always been there, but they haven't had much to say when the SEC was thoroughly dominating the sport. So they just sat there in the basement, underground, stirring their pot of voodoo. One of these days, you guys are going to be humbled, and the Big Ten's going to be great, and Ohio State and Michigan are going to win titles, and you're not, and then Penn State's going to win one, and then Saban's going to retire, and then now they're all up. They've all emerged from below the surface, and they are out, and they are pounding their chest like Coach O and Destin after a kegger, and they are enjoying every bit of the SEC, not dominating the sport to the same level that it was before.
Yes.
Number 5.
I can't say anything else after that. Okay, so we're going to do another Big 12 question. But we're going to do it in honor of the Pac-12 because it's a former Pac-12 school. We had Phil Steele on the other day. He mentioned about Utah and talking to Kyle Whittingham, and they had a down year. They quarterback problems, stuff like that last season. They were very un-Ute-like, but still a good football team. I mean, that thing he's built out there is consistent. Well, they went to the portal and got quarterback Devin Dampier from New Mexico. Bronco Mendenhall's 1 year in Albuquerque went well because of this guy. He's an Arizona native, dual threat guy. Here's my concern, and taught me off the ledge with the Utes, because I'm a Utes guy. I like the Utes.
Love Whittingham.
Joe Pesci and my cousin Vinny, the Utes.
What's a Ute?
What's a Ute? And I like to see them do well. And again, respect for Whittingham. And this quarterback's good, but he was interviewed at Big 12 Media Days, and he starts talking, we're going to be completely different on offense. We're going to go spread, and it's going to be totally different. We used to be a power run team and physical. Now we're going to do this. And I'm like, I've seen this movie before, right? And coaches that have had a formula, that have been there for a while, that abandoned that formula. I think that's what happened to Texas and Oklahoma on defense in the Big 12. Everybody went spread, so they did too. And everybody's not playing defense. Nobody's playing defense. Utah has gone against the grain, both in the Pac-12 and sort of in the Big 12 now. But they're changing it up, Mike. They're changing up the offense. Good move or bad move? And I know I'm asking you to be Nostradamus here, but your thoughts on coaches that have been successful all of a sudden reinventing the wheel abruptly based on largely a down year. I know Nick Saban evolved, but he evolved gradually. Kiffin, they were already doing some things. Kiffin comes in, takes it a step further, blah, blah, blah. This is very abrupt, and I've seen it blow up in the face because that old saying, dance with the one who brought you. I don't know that that's Utah football is trying to outspread people. Your thoughts?
Yeah. By the way, I was convinced Cam Rising was going to be the starting quarterback for another 17 years.
He was a veteran.
Goodness gracious. I mean, shout out to Cam. 2 Pac-12 championships under his direction. I think he finally retired with the hand injury. Otherwise, correct me if I'm wrong, he could have had another year of eligibility. With
he was
COVID.
eligible to play this year.
He was.
He just hung it up. Yeah, he could have played.
Yeah, I was just convinced like it was going to be death, taxes, and Cam Rising leading the Utes. You brought up Nick Saban did it. Nick Saban did it with first-round quarterbacks and top 10 wide receivers, right? And elite offensive coordinators. So if you're going to do it, it's like I'm convinced 1990s Nebraska, if they really wanted to change their offense, they still would have won a lot of damn games because they always had the best offensive line in football. They had one of the best defenses in football. They had playmaking quarterbacks. If they decided to open it up a little bit, they still would have been really good. My point is talent over scheme is still number one. What I don't know, in full disclosure, I don't know where Utah is, because they've been a line of scrimmage team, right? You would go to Utah and you would be like, oh man, I don't want to play these guys. They kind of had the identity of an old school SEC team, right? And that's Kyle Whittingham, grit and gut. We're going to knock your block off. We're not fancy, damn it, but we win games around here. I don't know if he still got that personnel. Nobody saw the down year last year coming. No one. So I'm going to have to reserve a strong opinion on that because I don't know. Is he doing it in part because maybe he doesn't feel like he has the personnel to ground and pound and just dominate teams on the ground?
I think. Well, Phil Steele said something. I think it was about their offensive line. So Whittingham told him it was. Maybe it was their defensive line. It was one of their lines that was really good. I'm just like, I don't know. I think part of it's a quarterback too. I mean, this guy he is Thomas Castellanos, basically. He ain't going to 7-step drop, bunch of reads isn't going to work for him. Double tights and stuff ain't going to work. I just, I personnel wise, without diving too far in, I think it's plausible for this year's team. Remember when Charlie Weiss started Demetrius Jones and tried to run the triple option at Notre Dame and they got beat 34-3 by Georgia Tech at home and he wasn't an offensive genius anymore. Remember when Urban Meyer had John Brantley as a starting quarterback and couldn't really do, I've just seen this. Remember when Tony Franklin, was Auburn's offensive coordinator, a spread guru.
Oh, yeah.
And they had offensive linemen with a headset and poster board, and they scored like 6 points a game. I've just seen when head coaches who are successful try to reinvent the wheel and get uncomfortable, especially defensive-minded ones, because then what happens is if the spread's not working and that's not what they're comfortable with, they're going to sit there and get on the OC and be like, oh, no, you need to start running it more up the middle and power football and stuff. I don't know. Maybe Whittingham's good enough to get by with that. But I heard that and my heart sank a little bit. He's excited about it. He was chipper. But
to your point, the only coach off the top of my head that I really think was able to pull that off, but he didn't change his system, though. He just changed the program's DNA, and that's Mike Leach at Mississippi State. Remember, everybody said, "Oh, you can't run that offense in the SEC with Mississippi State players. He's going to be humbled. He's going to be." No, Mike Leach's offense did quite well, and he had mediocre quarterbacks and decent, not great wide receivers, and they still threw for a ton of yards.
They did. I
And-
mean, they might not have scored. Their scoring was down compared to like when he's in the Big 12 or Pac-12.
Right.
But the games are look, Ole Miss as one of the best, most talented offenses in college football the last 10 years. Out the door. They were good on defense too. They scored less than 30 points in most of their SEC games, including Mississippi State. They had one game where they rose on up against Arkansas and hung 63 on them. But, dude, other than that, I mean, and that was one of the best offenses in the league. Tennessee didn't score that much last year, with that. And that system is, so, yeah, SEC is going to be lower scoring, but did his offense work? Dude, we were talking about Auburn earlier. I remember watching Auburn, Mississippi State one day, and the air raid was clunking a little bit. They were going 3 and out, and Mississippi State's defense was getting drugged, and Auburn was
I remember this
by
game,
20.
yeah.
All of a sudden, the quarterback gets hot.
Uh-huh.
They start completing pass after boom, 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 touchdown, boom, boom, touchdown. And they ended up coming back and winning like 43-36 or something like that. That dude, he was legit. And you're right. That style, he could win in any conference. I just, with what Utah is and how they've won by being different, and they do a good job of evaluating talent, and especially on the line of scrimmage. They have players, but I heard that and I'm like, whoa, after a 6-6, you're going to reinvent the wheel, that you're going to go against the DNA of I just don't know, man. I just, for me, my heart sank. Cause like I said, I do wish them well. And I think he's one of those guys, promotion from within after Urban Meyer left, and he's been there ever since winning. I think that's the end.
Is that number? Was that 5?
Yeah, that was 5, dude.
Okay. All right. Well,
I had a Duke over under question for you. But I was
degenerate gamblers out there,
and I know you don't get the questions in advance, and so I was like, well, Mike probably hadn't seen that schedule, and so I said that's probably.
I haven't, and I don't know if I have a strong take on Duke football just yet.
It's 6.5. They got to 9 last year. They got a better quarterback, so a lot of people think Duke could be top. I think they were picked 6th or 7th in the ACC.
It was hilarious, that poll. Speaking of polls, they do a poll still in most conferences, a preseason poll, and they did one in the ACC. And it was damn near unanimous. Clemson, and then Miami had a couple of votes. Florida State had a couple of votes, and then it was just like
Virginia Tech, I think, and Wake Forest got a vote.
Come on,
was it Wake? It was Virginia Tech and
nothing
one other.
surprised. I mean, Vanderbilt gets votes every year in the SEC poll. Like, somebody thinks it's kind of funny to fill that out, and you don't have to.
The ball bounces their way. The kill zone could be in Atlanta.
Hey, I'm on Pavia. I'm on the Pavia bandwagon. All right, let's see. Speaking of degenerate gamblers, you always know, like, you have friends and they're like, "Hey man, what do you think of Blake Horvath and Navy this week?" I kind of they have no connections to Navy or anything. Now some of them are just huge college football fans. One of my favorite things to follow on Twitter is college football sickos. Right?
Sicko, oh God, they're great.
It's just one of the best. And there was a thing on there about you can take your SEC and Big Ten. I'm still about the MAC game, and
that one was beautiful. That
was so well written.
That went viral.
It did.
We're playing games in front of 14 people and a raccoon.
Yes. Oh man, I remember calling one in Akron on a Wednesday night. I think it was me and Cole Kubelik. And it was so cold and so windy, and that's an outdoor stadium. I think it's Dick's Stadium.
Yeah,
they
used to play in the Rubber Bowl, but now
the Rubber Bowl,
Dick's Stadium.
Yes,
so you went from the Rubber Bowl to Dick's Stadium.
There might have been 17 people drinking hot chocolate and watching their sons play, and that's about it. And it was just freezing. But you know what? Damn it, it's football. So in that vein, and to once again validate, we are not elitists here on JC and Morgan. Group 5, John is still at it. Remember, he was on Ashton Genty before a lot of people even knew who Ashton Genty was.
Mm-hmm.
So who are some of the top returning starting quarterbacks in the Group 5 this year? He's got a list, 1 through 5. I'll go in descending order. Number 5, Boise State quarterback Maddox Matson. And if you have any thoughts on these guys, JC, feel free to chime in. He led Boise to a 12-2 record last year at a college football playoff. Of course, they no longer have Genty, but he's still under center. Number 4 for UTSA, go Roadrunners. Owen McCown, the son of former NFL quarterback Josh McCown. He led them to a 7-6 record last year and a Myrtle Beach Bowl victory over Coastal Carolina. Number 3, Colorado State quarterback Braden Fowler Nicolosi, third-year starter there. Number 2, Navy, Blake Horvath. Blake Horvath, now he's got some tread on the tires. He's a senior, been around for a while. Led Navy to a 10-3 record last year and an Arm Bowl Forces win over Oklahoma. Army-Navy last year is one of the best stories out there. And if we ever do get what we have been clamoring for on this show, which is a Group 5 playoff, how fun would it have been to see Army and Navy competing in a Group 5 playoff last year?
They could have, they could have been the championship game.
Could have, absolutely. And number 1, USF, which is not located in South Florida, but they are the University of South Florida, located in Tampa. Quarterback Byron Brown, the senior, missed 8 games last year due to a leg injury, but he's good. They've got to match up with Florida in September, actually. So they'll be on the hunt for an upset at some point. All right, man. A lot of stuff here. Again, Andy Staples next week. Just some people on chat row going back from the start. Billy, hard to believe, 30 days left. Thank God. Amen. Amen, brother. Amen. We always love the good mornings. Frederick, Blake, thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Craig, T-1 month, my dudes. You got that right. Ethan, 1 month away. Tyler, spot the ball. Apparently Big Slamma Jamma says I was right. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Devolution is a word. So
yes.
So there. I threw that out of the old
Congratulations.
Out of the old vocab here today. It seems like yesterday when the countdown started again, this year just goes by faster and faster. Not fast enough, Billy, but I'm with you. I am with you. Beamer's already been at South Carolina for 5 years. Chance to be the greatest coach in history. He needs to go 9-3 on average for the next 6 years. That's a lot to ask, but certainly that would put him in very, very elite company. LSU beats Clemson 31-24, and it's not an upset. Okay. Net rankings make way too much sense for that to be adopted, says Craig. Billy, if you count week 0, only 23 days left. Bryce, how soon will the SEC go to 9 games? Oh, that is a multi-million-dollar question, as in how much more money can the SEC command from ESPN to get to 9? I still think that's the biggest factor in all of it. I think it is going to happen, and I want to say sooner rather than later. And then, of course, the X factor in all of that is the SEC. What's the playoff going to look like? Is it going to be the 4-4-2-2-1 model? Is it going to be the 5-11 model? Or is it going to stay the same? It's not off the table that it could stay the same. If you have gridlock in their Congress and the Big Ten and the SEC are on 2 different sides of the fence, we could wind up not moving the ball.
It makes me sick to think about that.
I know. It makes me sick as well. Doug, is DJ Lagway injury prone? How concerned should Gator Nation be? I keep hearing the backup quarterback Harrison is solid, but can't be as good as Lagway. No, he's not as good as Lagway. That without knowing a whole lot about the backup quarterback situation. But you go from a shoulder injury where you don't throw it all in the spring, and now the dreaded lower calf, which kind of bleeds into the Achilles. I'm starting to feel this for the first time in life, JC. Still looking for that 10-day NBA contract, or maybe make a taxi squad in the NFL. And it's scary. And you see all these young athletes lately, they get that high calf, then they tear an Achilles. Achilles injuries are up by leaps and bounds, and nobody seems to have an answer why. I have a theory on that, but I won't bore everybody with it. I'd be more concerned about the shoulder, though, with Lagway.
Mm-hmm.
That's his throwing shoulder. Now, he says it's fine, and everybody says everything's fine, nothing to see here. We'll find out early on when he takes a couple shots on it, JC.
And a shoulder injury can wreck. I mean, he's an accurate passer, got a great arm, but it can wreck you if it bothers you. Just because that's obviously important when you're throwing a football. Your shoulder. You mentioned Harrison Bailey. Look, dude, Harrison Bailey was a big time recruit, or not huge, but 4-star guy, top 200 guy from Georgia. I would not want. I mean, unless look, I don't ever count out players that are going to be 24 years old coming up in the fall, getting better. But he signed with Tennessee, got a cup of coffee in that 2020 year where things fell apart for Jeremy Pruitt, played a little, then went to UNLV, was a backup, then went to Louisville and did not get off the bench. Now he's at Florida as the backup. I don't know. It would take a great coaching. He's not like Graham Mertz, who actually did some really good things at Wisconsin and played a lot at Wisconsin. And then Billy got him better, obviously. Graham Mertz was a much better quarterback at Florida than at Wisconsin. So I'm not ruling it out, but, man, I don't know about going with Harrison Bailey. And I think that changes with that schedule, changes the trajectory of the season. But, look, sometimes we'll have like all this offseason drama about a player. Is he hurt? Is he not? Maybe he's in a walking boot for precautionary reasons or misses spring. And then the season gets here and he's fine. Plays all the games, plays well. So I wouldn't worry your Gator heart too much right now, my friend. Because my gut is this is just a lot of, a microscope being on him because he's good. A lot of people think he's really good and he's a big key player. I mean, if this were happening anyway, if this happened to Arch Manning, or if this were happening to Lenore Sellers, or if this were happening to Cade Klubnik,
Garrett
Nussmeier, people would be concerned. But it isn't true until it's true. So especially with injuries, because a lot is done for precautionary reasons, and the media kind of sees one part of it and they start asking questions, and college coaches are never going to divulge exactly what the problem is. So it leaves a lot to the imagination. But my gut feeling here, and it's correct about 63.3% of the time, I think he'll be fine.
Billy says if Texas loses to Ohio State, do the high expectations from Arch Manning fall off? If he has a bad game, they absolutely do. There's a lot of people already just licking their chops to say, told you, it's all about the last name. The hype is supersedes the talent. I'm not in that camp. I think Arch Manning actually is a very talented player. He didn't start last year, but when he was in there, I mean, one thing is automatic. People have to understand this is not Eli Payton. Like, he is an athlete. He is like Grandpa, and he is like Cooper. He can run. So bare minimum, that part of his game is going to be there. How great of a passer he's going to be, I don't know. Got to see. But he will be polarizing, I think, for a lot of people. A lot of people just hate kids that are hyped up, and they hate what they call Nepo babies. There's going to be some of that out there. Mm-hmm. And then there's just going to be some people that hate Texas. So all that will kind of be baked into the coverage of Arch Manning this year. And finally, Sam, we haven't done Five or a Dimer in a while. And it's killing me because this summer now on like Twitter, it tells you how I feel about Jaws, JC. I think it's just woven into my
the
DNA.
Summer of Jaws on social media. Dude.
Well, it's the 50-year anniversary.
Yeah,
it's actually going to be re-released in theaters, I believe, this month.
Sweet.
And I'll be damned if I'm not going to go watch it before I see some comic book movie. It's the 41-year anniversary of Karate Kid. It's the anniversary of Animal House. Like all these dimers, it's the whatever. Because back in the summer, they used to release blockbusters.
80s and 90s especially.
Oh, my goodness.
You look back in time, and like at the theater at one time, you've got just 8 classics playing at the same time.
At the same time. Look at what was in the theater in 1994. At the same time with like Gump, Shawshank, Seven. There's like 5 of them.
Pulp Fiction was
Pulp
around.
Fiction. Yeah, it's just one after the other. Now I haven't had any urge to go to a theater the entire summer. But he says Father of the Bride, Revenge of the Nerds. Father of the Bride, solid. Big Steve Martin fan. Martin Short's always delivers. For me, it's a neither, though. I think I saw it maybe a couple of times. And then Revenge of the Nerds, that is a dimer plus. Underrated part of that movie is Lamar with his unique form on the javelin throw. I can't say much more than that, but it helped him win that event. Revenge of the Nerds is just a classic 80s movie that would never be made today for a bunch of reasons. That is really damn funny. So a neither and a dimer for me, JC.
Yeah, you forget that the villain in that the hotshot was in Married with Children for years.
Yeah, Ted McGinley.
Married,
Or not
yeah,
Ted, is it Ted McGinley?
Yeah, it's Ted McGinley. Yes, Ted McGinley.
Ted McGinley, yeah.
I would flip it. Father of the Bride would be a dimer.
Really, JC?
Well, my ex-father-in-law, mother-in-law, my first wife. I mean, heading up with a wedding preparation that was on at the Moxie House quite a bit.
Okay,
and I like it. You know, Frank is an excellent character. Martin Short, very great character, and Steve Martin and Martin Short, of course, are great friends. Three Amigos will live in my heart forever as a Martin Short, Steve Martin collaboration with Chevy Chase. But Revenge of the Nerds. And I like Nerds too, Nerds in Paradise myself with the band at the end, you know. And so I've seen them both several times, but I believe the original is more of a fiver for me, just because when I was a kid, my parents wouldn't let me watch it because there was nudity.
Yes.
Well, I was like in high school, and then
a fair amount.
At that point, it was the 90s, and I was inundated with great movies. But I have seen it between 5 and 10 times. I would just err on the side of caution with fiver and then the dimer. Yeah, Father of the Bride, I've probably seen it like between 10 and 15. Neither are Ben Franklin's. Both, I think, are quality, great movies.
Great movies. And I will leave you with this, a link to Revenge of the Nerds and Karate Kid. Kids, don't try this at home. I'm a professional. Lamar in Revenge of the Nerds. Okay. He's the black guy, the javelin thrower, big Michael Jackson fan. Go watch Karate Kid. He is also a member of the Cobra Kai. A lot of people don't know that. Same actor.
And he was either in Reading Rainbow, Sesame Street, or The Electric Company.
Was he really?
Mad Dog's in the chat box and reminded me of Revenge of the Nerds 2, Hotel Coral Essex. That was awesome. But Lamar was in one of those kids shows. I think it was Reading Rainbow. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that there is a tie. And in fact, my current wife, pointed that out to me the other day. Like, look, this is Lamar, because she loves Karate Kid. Karate Kid's not my thing.
I love Karate Kid.
I'm just not into.
Your wife picked up on the same thing. That's the same actor.
Lamar from Revenge.
Oh, Nat Major here.
You got to give her props for that.
That's major.
That's great. But,
no wonder you married her.
Of course.
That's next level.
Stellar. Yeah, but yeah. So that's very, very interesting. Very interesting couple of movies there that when I saw that from Sam and chat row, I gladly would comment on.
We're always here to answer fiver or dimer questions. If you're new to the show, what's a fiver? What's a dimer? It's basically a remote dropping movie. If it's on, the remote, you just throw it away. You're in like something like Goodfellas. You see it on Turner, and you're like, okay, I'm here for the next hour and a half to finish this off. So if you've done that 5 times, that's a fiver. 10 or more is a dimer. And obviously, if it didn't do it for you, that's neither. That's, you're not there. You're not there yet. We'll get to the Aranda cut another time because I know we're up against it. But folks, just YouTube it. Speaking of a dimer, Wolf of Wall Street, he quotes Wolf of Wall Street, and he doesn't use the term. Well, he does use the term that people are offended by instead of saying little people, and somehow correlated that to college football. I don't know where Dave Aranda.
I think we're getting it.
We're going to do it.
Yeah,
all right.
We got it.
All right, Mad Dog, if you want to hit play on this,
it's a great way to end it.
Yeah. Great way to end the show.
There's a scene in The Wolf of Wall Street where they talk about throwing midgets, and it's like, hey, this midget can he, can he roll there? And he go, no, he doesn't roll. You throw him, you know what I mean? And they're made for throwing. And then after a while, they start talking and they go, well, you know what? I think if you start talking, they may think they know we're making fun of them. The midgets may think we're making fun of them. So then I'm going to start, they may get mad at us. And then the guys go, well, what we need to do is make them think they're one of us. And they go, one of us, one of us. And I think that's the thing with coaching, call it recruiting. It's that way. They talk about acquiring players, getting rid of players, just like that. And the whole thing underneath all that is they make them think they're one of us. You know what I mean? And it's like, but I don't know. Do you have to do that to win? That sucks. Yeah.
Jesus. Oh, man.
Yo, Mike.
I can feel the sports information director at Baylor as that answer is going on, just slouching in his chair going, make it stop. Make it stop.
I think it's in Wedding Crash. He's like, you're coming at me with some new information here. I hadn't seen that until just now.
Oh, you hadn't seen that?
No. And it started off like, I'm just going to go through my emotions real quick with it. I started off going, well, he's kind of like the Jonah Hill character in Wolf of Wall Street. Maybe he's doing an impression.
Right.
He was awkwardly trying to make a huge and I kind of get what he's saying.
I got the reference.
There are like 1,000 movie references that would probably be better applicable to recruiting these days, dude. But I mean, look, this is what's great about college football. Like the song says, it's for the large and for the small.
Yeah.
We have now had two, unfortunately, a story about a late college football coach, Mike Leach. We've had stories in the last 6 months about Mike Leach in a meeting wanting to get little people, midgets, on the football team and asking if it would be legal to put the ball in their hands and toss them over the goal line.
Oh, that's right.
That was a thing. And then now we have Dave Aranda. I mean, I wouldn't have, if you'd have asked me who would be using a Wolf of Wall Street midget tossing reference at a press conference, Dave Aranda would not be at the top of my list, dude.
Not at all.
At all. Not even close.
Not at all.
So that's what's great about college
and he wasn't
football, dude.
For those that are just listening and not watching, he's not cracking a smile when he's saying this.
No, he's
serious
just
as cancer. As he's making this metaphor, he is dialed in on it, and he's putting it in overdrive. Like, I'm going all the way. I'm not just bringing up Wolf. I'm not bringing up Jonah Hill's character. I'm going all the way on this analogy, and I'm taking it to the house. And by golly, he did. So
what I want to see is Dave Aranda, Clark Lee, and Billy Napier all in the same press conference taking turns using that analogy. Like, you know how you have these celebrity things? It's like, I want to tell you about the trash on the ocean. And then boom, here's Robert Downey Jr. The seagulls are eating all of your balloons, and then it's like, Liam Neeson, you need to save the seagulls, and it's like, if we had Napier, Clark Lee, and Dave Aranda repeating exactly what Dave Aranda just said in that style, that would be amazing.
Amazing.
I mean,
one can only hope. Hey, like we started off, we're less than 30 days away from kickoff. There's still time for all that to go down. We're out of time again. It's JC and Morgan, powered by Advocare. Go to advocare.com, promo code Mike Morgan, save yourself 20%. And we appreciate everybody tuning in. Next week will be on Wednesday. Andy Staples will join us. Time for maybe a few more guests before the season rolls, and then we'll be a little less heavy on the guest line. Sizzling, smoking hot. Our thanks, as always, to our multi-talented producer, who very often is producing multi-shows at the same time. That is the Mad Dog, Phil Mullinax. And special thanks to all those tuning in. Chat row alive here today. Appreciate you folks out there getting up early and joining us live. And for the rest of you catching this on delay, enjoy. We'll see you next week on another installment of JC and Morgan.